How can I possibly be getting up to pee again? I didn't drink anything else. So this issue of peeing all night long, nocturia, is really annoying, and it can really just wreck your whole life. How are you supposed to function the next day when you're up and down to the bathroom all night long? And the advice that's out there is, oh, I shouldn't drink as much at night. Thank you, I never would have thought of that. And when you go to the doctor, you just go and say, yeah, I'm peeing like 9 times a night. They run some tests, and they come back and say, oh, we figured it out. You have overactive bladder. Yeah, I kind of told you that when I came in. I'm here to find out why I have overactive bladder. Oh, it's overactive. You have that. So what I want to do in this video is help you understand some of the actual underlying causes that can create this. And I'm not a doctor. Don't view this as medical advice. I'm pretty much just like you 20 years later. So I'm just a schmuck comic who had to find his own answers when 23 different doctors couldn't help me get my voice back. So now I'm just a nutrition author and helping people understand the things that I dug up when I was trying to find my own answers. So since I've got my voice back, I've found all the information that I needed in the medical literature, and it's just none of those doctors knew that stuff. So sometimes we have to dig a little bit on our own to understand the right questions to ask our doctors. So I'm going to put some links in the description below this video to some studies that we'll reference, and you can dig a little bit deeper into those if you want to. But in this video, I want to help you understand some of the more common causes for this nocturia issue, steps you can take to improve the situation, and how to really understand which steps are going to be right for you. Because if you just look at this like, oh, I'm going to get this remedy and I'm going to do this remedy to fix my nocturia, you have the ability to make your situation worse. You really want to learn how to work with your body instead of against it. So understand this first, that there are some significant health issues that can cause a person to have to get up and pee a lot in the middle of the night. And some of those issues can be like, an enlarged prostate issue. Somebody might have some type of UTI going on. Insulin resistance and issues that are going to cause insulin to go high, like diabetes and such, seem to show a lot of correlations for people having to get up to pee a lot at night. High blood pressure, sleep apnea has the ability to create some trouble that can cause this. And then of course we have this, overactive bladder. Why wouldn't that cause that? And a lot of times we just like to blame age. I'm not a big fan of blaming age, mostly because I'm kind of old now, but I just kind of view it like the age where these things are kind of showing up a lot. That happens because you've had more time for things to go wrong. But that doesn't mean that just because the calendar is here that you have to deal with this issue. I still feel like most people have the ability to work on the underlying causes and make things a little bit better. So when we're going to talk about this, we're not going to talk about a lot of these things. If someone has significant issues like this going on, they're going to have to work on improving those issues, and then hopefully that creates some improvement. But doing this for 20 years and helping clients, a lot of clients, improve this issue, more than 85% of those clients had another issue going on. They had a problem with water traffic. So what we need to understand is that the body has the ability to send water to different locations at different times for different purposes. So it was Dr. Emmanuel Rivisi who helped us understand that the body has this natural circadian rhythm at the cellular level that is very important for the body to function correctly. There are things that happen during the day when the body's in what's called a catabolic state that are very important. The body's very good at creating energy in this state. It's very good at breaking down so that things can be rebuilt and renewed. And then at night, we should move into this anabolic state where the body's very good at sleeping and resting and repairing and rebuilding. So both of these states are important. They both have their purposes. The problem is some people, for a wide variety of reasons, can get stuck in one of these states most of the time. Or maybe they're just pushed way too far into one of these states, and when that's the case, it has the ability to create a wide variety of health issues. So important to understand for this conversation is if someone is stuck in this overly catabolic state, the body will send more of the water to the bowels and less to the kidneys. And if somebody's really stuck in this anabolic state, then that body is going to send less water to the bowels and more to the kidneys. So when we see people that appear to be stuck in this anabolic state, we see a lot of constipation. We ask them, how many times do you get up at night to go pee? we use this as a marker for whether they're dealing with an anabolic imbalance or not. So this is very common to see the body do this. And there's links in the description below to studies that show the strong correlations between constipation and nocturia. And it makes sense because if the body is sending most of the water to the kidneys and not enough to the bowels, those bowels are going to get more dry and more hard and more difficult to move. Now, this is not the only cause of constipation, and in my book, Constipation, Kick It Naturally, I talk about a variety of different things that can create constipation. But when someone's dealing with chronic constipation, in most cases, this overly anabolic state is at least a contributing factor. And if you're constipated, I'll put a link in the description below where you can get that whole book totally for free, and that'll help you improve that situation. But here's what we want to really understand. The anabolic state should be happening at night, right? Well, during the day, most people should be over here in this catabolic state, and then at night, they move into the anabolic state. That's how the body is supposed to work. But if somebody is already over here during the daytime, then at night, when the body starts to move more into that anabolic state, they're probably going to end up way over here, way beyond where they should be, severely in that anabolic state. So that means that the body's going to send even more water to the kidneys, and it also means it's going to do a whole lot more of that at night, when the body's going to be even further in that anabolic state. So it makes sense why so much water is going through the kidneys at night when the body's way into this state where it's supposed to send water to the kidneys. So if a person can improve this imbalance, and then during the day they're going to be over here, then when they move into this anabolic state at night, they're just going to be around this area. And they're also going to be sending more water to the bowels throughout the day. More of the water will flow out that way, and less will be there to go out the kidneys. So when we're looking at different markers, how do I know if I'm leaning too far on this anabolic state? Well, one marker is constipation. But not everybody in this state is going to be constipated. Because there's other causes of constipation and diarrhea, there could be other things going on that's either making the bowels work fine, or the person could even be leaning towards that diarrhea side and be really stuck in this state. So none of these things are diagnostic. These are just signs that we can get insights of how the body might be operating. So hard to wake up in the morning is another thing, and a lot of people will say, well, yeah, I was up peeing all night. I probably do 5K every night just walking back and forth to the bathroom all night. How am I going to wake up in the morning? But also a lot of people, even when they don't walk back and forth to the bathroom all night, they'll have a hard time waking up because in the morning they're still in that nighttime cellular, the body shouldn't be getting up type state. And one thing that's really easy for you to do is you can just look at your urine pH with some urine pH testing strips that you can pick up at most health food stores. I'll put a link to the ones that we use in the description below just so you can see what we're talking about. But if you can look at your urine pH at least 2 hours after a meal, but not first thing in the morning, it should be after a meal. And if that urine pH is like 6.2 or higher, that's a really strong sign that you may be leaning too far on this anabolic side. And when both pHs, both urine and saliva, are kind of close together, that's another sign that a person could be leaning way too far on that side. Also a high pulse, like over, like 77, there's a resting pulse. That's considered a little bit high, or maybe somebody's having tachycardia. These are all signs that someone's leaning way too far on that anabolic state. Now, most people are not going to have all of these things going on. So if you don't have all, that doesn't mean that you're not too far on that state. But you really want to look at some markers to get an idea of where your body chemistry is. You don't want to just say, oh, I'm peeing all night, I must be stuck in an anabolic state. You could have one of these issues going on. You could have a UTI that's just making you pee all night. So we really want to know where we are, because when we look at the things that can improve this scenario, a really big one is magnesium. Magnesium is a very pro-catabolic mineral. It pushes the body more into that catabolic state. So if someone can use magnesium and balance this situation out, then they can really improve this imbalance and change where the body is sending this water traffic. Now, what's really important is when we use these things that are all pro-catabolic, like B6, B12, omega-3 fatty acids, we want to use all these in the morning or maybe at lunch. We don't want to take them at night. We want to allow the body to at least be some into that anabolic state. That's how the body's supposed to work. So when we're trying to correct this imbalance, we want to take these things early in the day. One more thing I'll say is, because everybody tells people, oh, you take magnesium at night so you can sleep better. And we have videos about why that's wrong. I'll put the link in the description below. It's a really big and very common mistake. But we don't want to use magnesium glycinate when we're trying to use this, because magnesium is pro-catabolic, but the amino acid glycine is pro-anabolic. So we're looking just to push the body more into the catabolic state. So maybe like magnesium malate or magnesium citrate, something like that is going to be more effective when we're looking at improving an imbalance like this. Diet can also be very important. A lot of times, a lot of people were eating way too many carbs and sugars, and that can push a person a little bit more on that anabolic side, which kind of creates some of this confusion, and everybody's like, oh, it's this insulin problem. Everybody's insulin's high, but insulin is pro-anabolic. So if somebody's eating in a way that's really going to raise insulin, yes, the insulin could be causing some of these things that they say cause you to pee more at night, but it could also just be pushing a person more into that anabolic state and causing the body to send more of the water through the kidneys. So reducing carbs and sugars can be big, but also eating more pro-catabolic foods, like things that have fatty acids in them, like salmon. You know, those kind of fish has a lot of fatty acids in it. Maybe cooking some hard cooked eggs, like scrambled eggs or hard boiled eggs. Those seem to be pro-catabolic for a lot of people. So a person can make some options that can really help. What's important to understand is don't view these like a remedy. You're not going to take magnesium on Tuesday and then that night your toilet's going to be like, hey, where were you? I missed you. You never showed up. You're not going to fix it that fast in most cases. This is an imbalance that needs to be corrected by putting effort in. That's going to push the body more into this state. Something is pushing you way too far into that state. If that's the case, just taking some magnesium and B6 is not going to push most people all the way over. It's going to take some effort. So what you want to do is, if you're looking at these numbers and they are showing that you're leaning too anabolic, you want to continue to watch them every few days or so to get an idea, am I moving in the right direction? If you take all of these things and change your diet and you're still peeing 12 times a night, but your numbers are still saying, well, yeah, you're still leaning way too anabolic, then it makes sense. So don't view it like I took this pill, it should have fixed it. The pill is just a tool to use to help you fix an imbalance that's creating this symptom. You may also look at your urine pH and see that it's really low and it's really acidic, like maybe 5.0 or 5.5. And maybe you're getting up to pee a lot, but it's not a lot of volume. And that's really common when the bladder is too acidic, and that acidic urine is irritating the lining of the bladder. The bladder's like, get it out of here. So if you're peeing a lot, but it's not a lot of volume, we'll put a link in the description below for our video on why do I have to pee so much, but hardly any comes out, and that'll give you more insights there. But it's really just about looking at your chemistry to know what's going to help you the most. If you're already too far on this catabolic side and you're taking these things, well, then you might magnify the problem. So it really can be helpful to look at your chemistry to learn to work with your body instead of against it. So I'll put 2 totally free resources in the description below. My book, Kick Your Fat in the Nuts, will kind of walk you through looking at your chemistry, but so will our totally free digestion course. So whether you prefer to read or just go through a free course, those will help you understand how to run some simple self-tests at home using tools that you pick up like at a pharmacy or a health food store. And that'll help you understand, am I leaning too far on this side? And if you are and you're dealing with this issue, then you're going to be like 80 or 85% of the people that I've seen that are dealing with this issue. Same with all of the practitioners that work in our network. We've been helping people fix this for 20 years just by understanding how to work with the body instead of just looking for a remedy. So I hope that gives you some insights, and right now, if maybe you are constipated or you know you're dealing with some of these other things, you can jump over and check out our video on understanding an anabolic imbalance. And if maybe you just pee a little bit, but you have to pee all the time, you can check out that video on why do I have to pee so much but hardly any comes out. I can't wait to hear about your results.